All right, guys. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Hurricane Dorian. I know that us three were texting each other throughout the entire weekend, and I guess being stressed out is an understatement.
It's you prepare and you think that you've checked all the boxes, but when you leave, we have so many clients now, so many people we care about, that it's tough to go home and just shut it off and not think, hey, maybe we could have done this, we should have done that, we should have reminded this person. But ultimately, we had a good week of people just blasting us on the phone, which was, for the most part, people who we had given advice to, warnings to, didn't heed that advice and kind of waited till it was too late. And despite the fact that we did our job, it's tough not to feel it.
I agree, and I felt like a lot of the same phone calls that we were getting were all very similar. Do I have wind coverage? And I'm like, no, you decided not to purchase that 3 months ago when you were renewing, or whether or not it was new business to us or not. And it brought out people's vulnerabilities, right? I think this storm really exposed who, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I'm going to come out and say it, who the big boys are and who the big boys aren't. And what I mean by that is, I think that sometimes people forget how vulnerable you are financially at the time of a catastrophe. And really what you think you can absorb, you really can't. And I kind of that's what I want this whole little panel to be about. I really want to talk, hit a couple of subjects and a couple of coverages that I felt people kind of may have underestimated, I guess is the word.
I think this is a reminder of why you buy insurance. It's for peace of mind. It's not a line item. It's not just an expense. I get it. You buy it in thoughts of of what might happen, and everybody just thinks they don't need it. But again, and I'm included, we weren't in control, which hence we care about our clients and we felt you have empathy for them. But when that storm's coming, that's when you need insurance. So you should just buy it up front. It has to be more of a mindful investment of what could happen. These storms are getting bigger. I don't care. They're getting stronger. The last 4 years, we've had Cat 5 storms come close to Florida. That thing comes at, and God, pray for everybody who's been affected directly. If you're in that eye wall, you're going to need insurance. So, punting it for down the road and thinking I don't need it, it's just, that mindset's got to change.
Yeah. One thing that was driving me absolutely nuts last week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we had Weather Channel on all the TVs in the office. Nobody really stopped watching it. And if I had a nickel for every time somebody said, now's the time to check your insurance policy, no, idiot. It is not time to check your insurance policy. It's too late. The time to check it was when you bought it or when it was presented to you. That's when it was time to check it, not now. And it was driving me nuts that, that's why we were getting a lot of phone calls too. But ultimately, there's nothing at that point we can do for anybody. And insurance is not, look, I get it. I agree with Luis wholeheartedly. It's something everybody wants to kind of kick down the road. And hey, let me just save a few bucks by knocking off this coverage, this and that. But it's because we get amnesia that these things happen, because they do happen, whether they're 10 years apart or 18 months apart. People want to say, hey, we haven't had a storm in 10 years. Man, people kept saying that we haven't been hit. Doesn't mean you're not going to get hit.
And taking a step back, and obviously you mentioned it, the Weather Channel's on 24 hours because it's affecting us. But look at all the stuff that's happening around the world. I mean, there's stuff going on all the time. It's just we tend to be selfish as people. I feel bad saying, thank God we dodged the bullet, but there's people being obliterated in the Bahamas. I feel guilty. There's stuff going on all the time in the world. There's natural disasters. There's claims happening at this moment to somebody that we're just not watching because we're just worried about ourselves. We live in where we insulate ourselves. It's all about us. Insurance needs to be, again, a reminder, peace of mind. Buy it and move on and do it right the first time and then live your life.
It's funny, because us doing what we do every day, we see all the bad stuff happening. So when we, this big kind of shift in the homeowners insurance market where we're seeing so many companies exclude water damage, for example. And then we'll have somebody say, oh, they exclude water damage. I'll take that option. It's less expensive because my pipe's not going to break and flood my house. Whereas us as insurance agents, we have 4 or 5 homes a week suffer water damage. And so people don't think that it's ever going to happen to them, but it happens every single day. You just might not, it may not have happened to you or to somebody you know, but ultimately it's happening all around you all the time. And everybody wants to be brave until the wind starts blowing.
I agree. You know what? And I know that we talked about this over the weekend, and I texted you guys. I think that property and casualty insurance kind of needs to be looked at like life insurance, like a life term insurance policy. It's almost like the only way you're going to be happy buying it is knowing that you bought it for a catastrophe, right? Like it's there to be utilized on a God forbid basis, not really utilized for like, okay, I don't know, we've had some small water damage issues or whatnot. I really think that you buy an insurance product for a catastrophe, right? And yes, there's other covered perils that it's supposed to trigger for and whatnot, but I really think that at the end of the day, you're buying it for these moments, right? Does that? And I really think it's a mindset. You know, that's my opinion.
Well, I think when you look at any insurance policy, it's got to be value. Not everybody. Some of these conversations have to be a little more in depth and not selling, but more understanding of what clients can self-insure. What's your risk retention? You know, and how much do you believe in insurance? What risk are you willing to take? As long as we do a good job of it, but as long as we can take a step back, articulate to our clients who's buying the policy, if they understand what they're getting into, then that's peace of mind. Not like, oh, what do I have? That means you saw a quote on the internet by a friend and you bought it and you have no idea what you're buying. That's not insurance. I agree. And now let's take it. I mean, I know that we're speaking to everybody across the country, but let's focus real quick on Miami-Dade County. And I'm going to keep it as real as I can be. There's a lot of people that don't believe in insurance, right? They don't believe in it. And I don't know if that's because that's the mindset they've adopted in other places. And then maybe in other countries, you don't have to buy insurance. And what I mean is because a lot of the people who are building here, a lot of people who are investing in Miami are foreigners, right? And they're used to a different climate. I'll give you a different take on that. And it's because most people don't feel insurance companies care about them. They don't care. This is a business. Insurance companies collect premium, right? They want to collect premium, pay as little as possible, and that's how people feel. And the truth is, a lot of times, most of them act that way. And tell me otherwise. So people don't see the value. They send a check. They don't know what they're buying. They don't know who their carrier is. They don't know who to call. And then when something happens, because it wasn't explained correctly, they feel like they're lost. They don't feel like what they're saying. If like our clients do, when we talk to people and we can provide an articulate explanation and give them at least value of what that deck page feels, it's a different conversation. But so many people, there's too many of us out there. There's too many insurance agents. It's lost in the shuffle. But it's a line item, and they haven't felt like, hey, this is why I'm doing it.
And yes, there's a whole lot of layers before you get to the claims process. With that being said, I think, again, one of the things that we've done very well is if we bind let's say we get a nice real estate portfolio, we'll have a designated adjuster to that portfolio. The insured will get to meet that adjuster. That adjuster's familiar with the properties. They understand what they're writing, and it just makes the claims process a little bit smoother because we've had instances where the claims process hasn't been as smooth as we feel it should have been. And I hear you loud and clear.
I think we do those things to make it as seamless as possible because, like Luis said, like, nobody is going to believe that this insurance company actually cares about them. Like you said, it's a business. You're going to have to prove to me otherwise that somebody's running out there trying to give you the most money possible. And so there's this huge disconnect where the consumer doesn't believe in the insurance company anymore. So we step in and try to say, okay, we represent the company, but we also represent you. So come through us and we'll give you a little bit of our heart versus we'll fight for you. But who's done damage, in my opinion, but the only people that have said we only care about you are the public adjusters. So the public adjusters have come in and said, we don't work for the agent, we don't work for the insurance company, we only work for you. And we're going to get you more money than anybody else because the insurance company doesn't care. It doesn't mean the insurance company isn't going to do right about you. Whether you agree or don't agree that they care about you, having a public adjuster come in and take a claim that maybe should have been $50,000 and turn into $150,000, that doesn't mean that the insurance company was going to do you wrong. But what it does mean is that you and everybody you know is going to pay more next year for insurance. And maybe you should have only gotten $50,000, but you know when the consumer is looking for somebody to be on their side, I think one thing that we try to do every day is to prove to our customers that we actually care about them. And I know that we do. It's the reason we were all stressed out this whole weekend. You know, when people file claims, you know, we're the middle guy. It's not coming out of our pocket, so to speak. Our stress and anxiety over the weekend was because we cared about people. And if we can do a better job, and the other people in our business can do a better job of making clients feel or understand that they care about them, then they won't fall to the bait of other people trying to get involved and take over and drive these claims up and up and up. Because look, there's a reason that people in Miami pay more than everybody else in the country, and it's not just because of hurricanes.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, we are the number one fraudulent city in America when it comes to insurance claims, which makes the entire marketplace very uneasy. Anytime that we're traveling across the country, you always hear you guys are in South Florida. You know, it's a tough place to write insurance. On top of the fact that, yes, we are in a tier 1 catastrophic zone and hurricane zone and flood zone and storm surge. But it really comes down to, I'll be honest with you, it comes down to a lot of underwriters who are facilitated in other parts of the country looking at us in Miami as a liability, as some sort of fraudulent city. And I don't necessarily know that we have the answer as to how we're going to change that mindset, but there's also a lot of good consumers in Florida, in South Florida, who are also paying the consequences of the consumer who doesn't give a shit.
And also, and I want to clarify, not all public adjusters are bad either. And there is absolutely a time and a place for public adjusters to be involved. I would definitely say there's a far more bad ones than good ones, and probably same to be said about what we do for a living. But if we're looking at why it sucks to buy insurance in Miami and why it's expensive to buy insurance in Miami, we have to look at all these factors.
Again, we knew that there were clients and people who were not properly insured. And when you look at the monster of a storm that was coming our way, and you're dodging, you know, you're getting a bunch of, you know, hundreds of phone calls of people literally trying to bind coverage on the last, you know, minute when there was binding restrictions all over the entire state. It made our job very stressful, but it also showed that people who we had spoken to, people who we had advised in the past, they weren't as prepared as we thought they were.
Right. Well, I think what strikes me when you say that is that we knew that they weren't insured correctly. We told them that.
Some of them convinced me that they were, and I was like, okay, maybe I don't know.
And ultimately, you start to think to yourself, you know what? Maybe I just shouldn't have let him do it. Like maybe if he wanted to go without wind, he had the ability to do so. He has the means to do so. But maybe I should have just said, you know what? If you want to do that, maybe you got to do it with somebody else. That way, when this storm does come, that the three of us aren't sitting home drinking wine, pulling our hair out, because we all know what happens when bad things happen, despite the fact that you may or may not have advised somebody the right way to do things. The fingers start getting pointed, and it sucks.
The reason why this weekend was, whenever these storms are looming and we have clients all throughout the state, their parts, is because we care about people. Like we're human. We're on the front lines. We're the ones talking to our insurers. We're making them a promise. Whether or not our brokers or our insurance companies are going to live up to it, doesn't matter. It's like what we say is going to go. So it's our word against theirs. It's really us, our insureds, against everybody else. That's how we feel. That's how we take it. So yes, there's times we should basically not go for the sale, but fight back. Insureds tell us this is what I want to buy. That's fine. We can sign all the waivers we want, but we know maybe we could have done more. Maybe I could have pushed our client to buy more coverage, or to buy that second policy that they didn't want to because they felt it was more expensive. And now's when we get tested. Did we do enough to help them? That's why the weekend was tough. It's like we do the right thing. It's just questioning, did we do enough? Nothing here. We look out after everybody. We try our best. We're transparent through our staff all the way up. It's, did we do enough? Did we do that? Did we go that extra mile that our clients expect us to do?
Right.
You know what? And in closing, to close this, I think, again, I'm going to go back to insurance consumer mindset. I think that the only way the consumer is ever going to be happy with buying a piece of paper that says you have a certain limit of liability, this is what you're covered for, is the day that they say, okay, I'm buying this for peace of mind. I hopefully never have to use it. But if I do, it's there. And again, I know that there's a lot of startups who tend to, I had a conversation with somebody who said, well, a startup company can't afford a certain insurance product,
You can't afford not to.
Don't start up.
then don't start up. If you're going to get into the business, you have to prioritize insurance as one of your largest and biggest line items, because the only thing that can take you out of business is an unknown loss. And we've seen that in the past. And that's really my mindset. I mean, look, I don't like to buy insurance, guys. I'll say it. Me, I sell insurance. I don't like to buy it. I like to buy it for my own peace of mind. I wasn't worried about my assets because I know that I have coverage for everything that I need. So I personally, from a personal perspective, I wasn't worried. I was more concerned for clients that I feel, I guess, emotionally attached to. I was concerned that I was going to get that phone call of like, dude, I have this loss and I got to give you, I'm the bearer of bad news. That it's an awful feeling, man. It's like, sucks.
I think my closeout will be, and something I thought about a lot this weekend, is about flood insurance. And why are we and our clients allowing the government to tell us, or our lender to tell us, or our bank to tell us, whether you should buy it or not? Oh, the bank said I don't have to buy it. We don't buy it. By the way, if you live in Florida, you should buy flood insurance.
What's funny is you live less than a mile from the water, and you're not in a flood zone.
I'm not in a flood.
Neither am I, and I'm a mile from the water.
And we have clients 10 miles from the water
who are in a flood zone.
Yeah, everyone's in a flood zone.
Yeah, if Dorian would have hit us dead on, we all would have had water. Whether it came up from a canal, from the ocean, from the bay, from the intercoastal, from anywhere, we would have had issues with water, and everybody would have been looking at us saying, "Well, I didn't have to buy it."
You know what we should do? We should walk around with our flood insurance policies in our wallet and say, "Look, I buy flood."
Like a badge of honor, right?
Badge of honor.
Like an organ donor.
Awesome. All right, guys.